All right, all right, all right. It is Saturday, June 3rd, actually, June 3rd, 2017, Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Give it a few until everything looks okay. Give it a few minutes and, until we start. Want to make sure content is being received within the YouTube server. And we're going to start the show pretty soon. I am super excited. We're going to continue today with SCCM. I'm going to try to push SCCM as much as I can for the following shows. So, as always, I want to give a big thanks to Lenovo. Lenovo, as always, hooked us up with a ThinkServer TD340. This is the machine that I've been using so far. It's working magical things are always happening in this machine together. Me and you always doing something together with that machine. And also, I'm pretty excited. This is so cool. I want to show you guys something real quick. I'm gonna disable all this stuff. And this right now is the real-time YouTube subscriber count. We are so close right now to 30,000. To me, that's pretty huge. I'm not up to like the six figures as of yet, which, I'm going to get there. Eventually, I'm going to get there with hard work and continuing pushing out good content to you guys. I think I could get to the six figures, that 100,000 subscriber count. I'll be super happy. But we're close. We're close to 30,000. Awesome. Super excited about that. So let's bring this stuff back. And yeah, today is all about SCCM. We're going to be tackling configuring discovery methods and also boundaries. So, hey, everyone. Again, if you have the power to leave a comment or even hit that like button, Make sure you leave a quick comment. Say hi. Let me know where you guys are from. I always love to know how far this show is going. Again, we're close to 30,000, so let's see if we can make it to 30,000 at the end of the show. Who knows? So I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna remove the lower third, and I'm just gonna start. Let's just go. So I got a PowerPoint right now, and at the bottom of the description, and also within the comments, there's going to be a link, and the link is just basically the notes. I broke it down into slides with notes. You could print them out, or if you have Acrobat Professional that allows you to make modifications on the PDF, go for it. Or if you have Windows 10 with Microsoft Edge, you could probably make the modifications on the spot. So 15 slides of awesomeness. So let's get started. Again, we are dealing with System Center Configuration Manager 1703. That is the last configuration that we did together. Remember, we built a SQL using MDT to push out and deploy the Windows Server 2016, as well as install SQL and get that up and running. And we install SCCM. We got that running with no problem. The SCCM was talking to our SQL database with no problem. So we have that up and running, but we need to continue configuring it. So today is all about discovery methods, and there are 6 types of discovery methods. The first one is Active Directory Forest. Number 2 is Directory Group, Directory System, Directory User, Heartbeat, and Network. Out of the 6 types of discovery methods, the only one that's enabled by default when you install SCCM and you got it up and running is number 5. The Heartbeat is enabled by default. The other 5, you have to enable it and then configure it, which we're going to go over. Active Directory Forest Discovery. What the hell is Forest Discovery? Now, Forest Discovery can be enabled within a CAS or a primary site. For us, we installed a primary site. Now, CAS, correct me if I'm wrong, most likely you guys will. I think CAS stands for Centralized Administration Server or Site. This is when you have one centralized SCCM infrastructure, and then you have like children underneath that, like different distributions in different areas. And then forest directory, it does not discover resources that you can manage. Okay. AD forest discovery. It discovers AD network locations and converts those locations into boundaries for use within your hierarchy. And I'm going to show you guys, because within my Active Directory site and services, I created a subnet. And then when I enabled my forest discovery, it automatically picked up that subnet. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys when we get to the demo. Now, group discovery. Now, this method searches the discovery scope that you configure and then identifies the group memberships of resources in the discovery scope. By default, it grabs security groups that are discovered. Okay, it's pretty simple. Group discovery is super simple. It just goes inside your Active Directory and grabs groups, right? System discovery, it searches your Active Directory for computer resources that can be used to create collections and queries within SCCM. Now, the system discovery is where the magic happens if you take advantage of the reporting system within SCCM. You're able to get information like the memory, processor, hard drive, and all that stuff within your your environment on the computers, right? And the magic actually happens once you install the client, which we're not going to do that today. We'll probably do it like next show. The following information is gathered by the system discovery from the computer. You got the computer name, operating system and version, Active Directory container name, IP address, and Active Directory site, and also the last login timestamp. Now, these are the basic stuff that's gathered within the system discovery method. There's a lot more that gets captured during this method, but these are the ones that stand out the most. Now, user discovery. It searches Active Directory for user accounts and associates attributes such as, these are some of the attributes: the username, the unique user name, which includes the domain name, the domain, the Active Directory container names, and that's it for the user discovery. It just goes inside your Active Directory depending on what organization you chose for the discovery method to scan. It's going to retrieve the user's account, okay? Heartbeat discovery, again, this is the one that's enabled by default. This is the one that you don't really need to do anything. This is already working for you once you install it. The heartbeat discovery is the only enabled discovery method. A heartbeat discovery is pre-configured to run every 7 days on every computer, and it aims to create a discovery data record, which is DDR, which contains the network location, the net BIOS name, and the operational status details of the computer. Okay, so the heartbeat discovery actually works well with another discovery, which I believe is the system discovery. So the heartbeat discovery and the system discovery method, they both work side by side. Okay. And then you have the network discovery, which we're not going to really deal with today. I'm going to be dealing with the first 4 of them. Now, the network discovery searches your network for IP enabled resources by querying Microsoft DHCP server. So if I'd enable this, most likely my DHCP server will be picked up. Address resolution protocol, which is ARP, caches and routers. I don't have a router system. Or SNMP enabled devices, which is most likely if you have managed switches within your network. The network discovery method will pick those bad boys up. Network discovery can also search Active Directory domains and the IP subnets if you have that created within your infrastructure. Now, the next thing that we're going to cover is SCCM boundaries. And eventually you guys are going to see me look down a lot because, as always, I have my trusty little book. And with my trusty book, all IT people always, I'm hoping a lot of you IT people got a book, a handy little book that you keep all your notes. I think the older that I get, the more I forget. So I just have to write down all little baby steps, right? Because then you mess up, and you don't want to mess up. So let's get back into the presentation. So the SCCM boundaries. So what are boundaries? A boundary is a network location on the intranet that contain one or more devices that you want to manage. right? Boundaries can be based on these specific types. You have IP subnet, you have Active Directory site name, you have IPv6 prefix, and you have an IP address range. Okay, for us, we're going to be dealing with IP subnet and also Active Directory site name. How to use boundaries. Now, boundaries are no longer site specific. It used to be in the old days. SCCM 2007, they used to be site specific. But when defined once within your hierarchy, they're available for all the sites within your hierarchy. Okay, so once you define, if you define a boundary within your, let's say, centralized your CAS server, your other sites will retrieve that boundary. Okay. Each boundary must be a member of a boundary group before a device on that boundary can identify and assign sites or a content server such as a distribution point, or DP. No longer configure the network connection speed on each boundary. Instead, in a boundary group, you specify the network connection speed for each site system server associated to the boundary group as a content location server. That's pretty cool. I like that feature a lot. And then what is a boundary group? And boundary group are collections of boundaries. By using boundary groups, clients on your internet can find and assign sites and locate content when they have to install software, such as applications, software updates, and operating systems. This is great, especially if you have different sites. Like, for example, if you have New York, you have Los Angeles, you have Florida, you have X, Y, and Z. And each individual office has a specific image that you're pushing out, certain updates that you're pushing out, and certain applications. So when these clients automatically contact your SCCM server, it goes inside the boundary group and it locates it. Depends on how you do it with your boundary groups. You could do like New York. You have a New York boundary group. It has a certain subnet IP, right? It goes in it. It says, oh, okay, this client is from New York, so it needs this information. Let's send it over. That's what a boundary group is. And you also have internet-based clients. Okay, those individuals or those computers that are not part of the network, consultants, those individuals that are always traveling a lot. When clients are on the internet or they are configured as an internet-only clients, they do not use boundary information. That's a big problem. These clients cannot use automatic site assignments and always download content from any distribution point in their assigned site when the distribution point is configured to allow client connections from the internet. So this is one of the features that you have to set up. If you don't set up, that means desktops, tablets, whatever mobile devices that are hooked up to your SCCM will not receive the content within the distribution point, because you need to allow your distribution point to shoot that information out to internet-based clients. Now you have two types. You have automatic or manual boundary creation methods. Now, SCCM can automatically create IP address range and Active Directory site-based boundaries depending on your discovery preferences. For me, I took the approach of the automatic approach because it's much easier, and because it's such a small. Well, if you're dealing with a huge infrastructure, the automatic thing is the best way to do it. Just let SCCM do its thing. If you have a small group, like for me, I have a small lab, the manual, I could just one off. But if you have like a huge infrastructure, do the automatic method is more better. This is useful in scenarios where you may have several subnets or Active Directory sites defined in Active Directory sites and services, which I'm going to show you guys because I created a subnet. It's only one subnet, so it was extremely easy for it to pick up. If the number of subnets and sites in Active Directory sites and services is somewhat small, adding boundaries manually would be more suitable, right? However, keep in mind that entering anything manually is prone to errors. So if you do it the automatic way, it's a for sure thing that should work with no problem. If you do it manually, you got to make sure you basically you follow everything, cross your T's and dot your I's. And the conclusion of all this is that Creating and configuring boundaries or boundary groups helps configuration manager clients to locate your content, use automatic site assignments, and policy retrieval from preferred management points. It makes it extremely easy when you're configuring your boundaries. Your devices will automatically pick up the content that it needs within your SCCM server. So once you configure that stuff the way that you want it, it's easy, it's breezy. Well, it's not always easy because sometimes there's always problems, and that's when all the headaches come. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into our SCCM. Bam, SCCM. Awesome. So I'm going to do is a Control 4. Again, I'm using the Zoom utility from Microsoft. It's a free utility. And right now, once you have your console up and running, you need to go inside administration. And within administration, you're going to go to hierarchy configuration, and let's go inside discovery methods. Now, I went ahead and enabled everything because I just want to enable it. I just want to make sure everything was working correctly. Now, one thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, let me get out of here real quick. Let me make everything small. Now, every time, I want to show you guys, every time you guys enabled a method, right, when you enable it, you're going to get this little warning. I'm not going to get the warning because the methods that we're going to be going over today, it's already enabled, so this is not going to happen. But once you enable the forest, the user, the system, and all that other stuff, you're going to get, do you want to run a full discovery as soon as possible? You can hit yes. If you want, you can also click on the discovery method right here and just run forest discovery now, whichever one is selected. Okay? So let's get out of that. Awesome. And let's close out of that. And let's go here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to, oops. No. Control 4. There you go. Whoa. All right. So the first one we're going to do is forest discovery. I'm going to right click on that and go to properties. And each of these guys right here have logs. And the first time you enable it, the log is going to be created for the first time. So the log is not there. So if you need to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, give it some time because the log takes some time for it to come up. Now, if you're wondering where the logs are located, I'm going to show you guys. So once you go to, click whatever method you want, we're doing forest discovery first, and you right click, you go to properties, you're going to get this nice, awesome thing. It's really simple. You click enabled. You have two options. You have automatically create Active Directory site boundaries when they are when they are discovered. This is really up to you. Again, if you let SCCM do its thing behind the scenes, it would take care of you as long as you have everything running behind the scenes, if you have everything already set up. I didn't pick this within my infrastructure. The only thing that I enabled was automatically create IP address range boundaries for the IP subnet when they are discovered. That's the only thing that I had. I think by default, the run is 1 week, but you could change it depending on your environment. For me, I'm going to do it every 1 hour. Doesn't matter. Again, it's a lab, so why not? Okay. The next one is group discovery. And I'm going to properties on that. And again, every time you right click one of these guys, it gives you an option to run it. There it goes. Okay. So with the group discovery, you have more tabs. Other than the forest discovery, you only have one shot. It just does this thing. Okay. Group discovery, you got 3 tabs. You got the general. Again, you click on enable Active Directory groups and discovery. And under here, discovery scopes is blank. So you need to add one. The one that I have right now, I'm going to just click edit. And I just gave it a specific name as BTNHD AD group discovery. And the LDAP location, if you click on browse, you could pick what group discovery. If you have all your groups within a specific organizational group, you could pick it that way. If not, you could pick the entire main root of your Active Directory, and it will scan everywhere, and wherever there's a group, it will retrieve it. Also, by default, you have recursively search Active Directory child containers as a must, and this, I left it by default. Okay, and if you just click, when you click add, you get 2 options. You have groups or location. Okay, and if you click on groups, this is what you have. You give it the name, use the default domain forest, or you can specify the controller server name, and then from here you could just break it down. Now the option that I did was basically location. So I gave it a name, and with the location I just browsed it. And once the browse come up, there you go. This is the one that I did. So I just basically went on add and did location, but you could break it down into groups. I think groups will work well if you have different locations, right? Yeah, I think so. So then the next tab is your schedule. By default, it has like a weird schedule of 19 something. You go to schedule, and then from here modify and change it. You could customize it to none, monthly, weekly. The majority of all these methods are the same with the custom schedule wise. They all have this crazy date of 19 something. Change the date, change the time. You could change the recur. I have it every 7 days, but for me, I'm gonna change it to 1 hour because this is my lab. It's real small. It doesn't really matter. So I'll click OK on that. And I think by default, enable Delta Discovery is enabled. Delta Discovery finds resources in Active Directory domain services that are new or modified since the last discovery cycle. And then you're able to change the interval every 5 minutes. I think that's the default, so I'm going to leave that alone. And then last but not least, the group discovery, the options tab. I think I enabled this one. I'm not too sure. But only discovery computers that have logged onto a domain within a given period of time. This is set by 90 days. You could change it to what you want. I think there's other options. You have also only discovery computers that have updated their computer account password in a given period of time. I don't know if you really want that option. And then the other one is discover the membership of the distribution group. Definitely don't want that. But the only option that I picked was only discovery computers that are logged onto the domain in a given period of time. That's pretty cool because then it keeps everything nice and clean. It keeps the database clean. You don't want stale clients within your SCCM. So I'm gonna apply that even though it's already done. Next one on the list is discovery. Again, the majority of these guys, when you right click on it, you're gonna get the properties. Server's been acting a little slow today. That sucks. All right, so right now I'm looking at the chat. We got 10 strong individuals watching. Thank you so much for joining the server room. We have one person saying, "Can you go over the pricing for SCCM?" Oof, that's a huge topic. That's really huge with the topic. I could probably go over maybe at the end. Don't know too much about the pricing with SCCM. I know, a lot of my clients that I work with are nonprofit organization, and they have like nonprofit discounts for these applications. So they do it that way. They normally purchase their applications and software, Microsoft stuff at TechSoup.org. So I don't really know too much about the pricing with SCCM, so I don't really want to give you any bad information. Okay, so within... So I thought I heard something like a ghost. So within the system discovery, again, system discovery, you have general, schedule, and option, but then you have an extra tab. With the general one, you click on enable, and you're going to get that dialog box stating, do you want to run the scan? Just hit yes on that. And then for the Active Directory container, I added this one. Again, I'm adding the main root, but when you hit the little arrow or the little star, you can actually tell it where you want this particular method to point to, okay? And for me, I just picked the main root. For my system discovery, I just told it scan everywhere. But if you have a specific organization group that you have your computers in, go for it. Make sure you pick it. I know a lot of people will have maybe an OU that states computers, and within computers you have another subfolder that says desktop and laptops and servers, and you have it that way. You could do it that way. It's up to you. And then you have a schedule, same thing, change the schedule. You can enable the Delta Discovery. By default, it's 5 minutes. And then you have Active Directory attributes. So this is where you could go and specify the attributes within Active Directory. By default, they give you all the good ones, all the main ones, like the last login, the distinguished name, the host name, primary group ID, object SID, the SAM account, which is your domain account. The name of the individual would be, full name, first and last name, and the object GUID or the yeah. If you want, you can add other ones. There's a crap load of them. I added the TPM, especially if you're dealing with laptops with Unify and they have that trusted platform module enabled within their BIOS or their Unify firmware. You want that information, right? You want to get that information. But from here, you go to filter and you just type in whatever you want. And I can actually add TPM information for the computer. Just click on it and just click add and just apply. And then with options, again, this is really up to you. I didn't really enable anything within my lab, but you're able to configure options to exclude computers from the discovery. Only discover computers that have logged on to a domain in a given period of time. You can actually enable that. Again, it's the same settings within the group discovery. All right. And last but not least, again, this one is already enabled by default. I'm going to right-click on you. I'm going to right-click on the heartbeat discovery. Go to properties because this guy is already enabled by default. I don't really think there's a lot of... See, there's nothing in here. 7 days is the default, and you're able to change it by hours or days. And that's it. This is pretty easy. Just one tab. Then the last one is the user directory. And within the user directory, again, you enable it right here, and you click on the nice little star, and you tell SCCM where is your user directory. Again, I took the easy route because it's my lab, but best practice is if you have a user organization group with all your users in, you pick that user and you add it that way. And just make sure you have recursively search Active Directory child containers, because I've seen Active Directories that have a user OU, and within user OU you have like the finance department, marketing department, IT department. And the reason why, because you might have different group policies for those individual departments. So you got to make sure you have recursively search Active Directory child containers, because you want it to pick everything within the subfolders. And I basically use the computer account on the site server. Make sure the site server or I'm logged in as an administrator, an admin within my SCCM server. Again, it's not good practice to log in as a full admin. Make sure that you have a SCCM account within your Active Directory that has access to your site server to do all that stuff, okay? But I'm taking the easy route and just using the admin for my lab. For user method, you have, again, schedule. Change it, modify it. Right now, I just have it 7 days by default. I think by default, a lot of these methods are 7 days, but you could change it to whatever you want within your environment. And then for the user discovery, you got the Active Directory attributes. You got the basics, and you could pick a lot more if you want. It's up to you. You could pick home directory, home drive, home phone. I'm not gonna pick anything. I'm just gonna leave everything as the default. So now, like I said earlier, that each of these guys have their own log file. And I'm going to show you guys where the log files are located. Minimize that. So, actually, I don't know why I minimized that. It's inside the damn server. All right, it's inside the server. There it goes. So, on my desktop, I have AD Forest, which is the Forest discovery method log. You have SGDis, which I believe is for your, let me remember. That is for your group and system discovery methods. And this one right here is for your user. So let me double click on this guy so I can show you guys the path. So depending on where you drop your SCCM installation, I dropped mine in the C drive, program files, Microsoft Configuration Manager, logs. And the Forest discovery, this is the log. Again, once you enable it and you want to go inside the log to check if everything is working correctly, because that's best practice. You should or would want to go inside here and make sure you don't receive any errors. But if you do not see the log within the logs folder right here, it takes some time. Give it some time. Don't be, patience. It eventually pop up. It took some time for me to pop up, but when it came up, it was great. But each log will give you a nice, it gives you information if it was successful, awesome. And that's the location. Okay, depending on where you drop your SCCM installation, go to logs folder. You're gonna look for the AD, and this one right here is for your system and also your group. Group and system both share the same log file. So everything was successful. I think I received maybe a couple of reds, but as you guys can see, if you can look at the logs, hopefully you guys can see the logs. It's going through each one. Yeah, cool. See, it's processing discovery group. Awesome. And again, both of these guys are the same. They both share the same thing. Oh, actually, no, my bad. Sorry, I apologize for that. Oh, well, going crazy. This is for the system. Yep, this is for system, and this is for group. Yeah, ADSG discovery is for the group discovery. My backs. This one is for the system discovery. Sorry, so they don't share. They're both two different things, and I get confused because they're so similar. But then when you get up to the SG, this one is SY. So this is system, and this one is for the group discovery. Again, this is the log. Each time you enable one of the discoveries, I'm gonna say it again. And you go inside your logs folder. Just be patient. Go use the bathroom or get a cup of coffee or something. Go get a snack because it takes some time for it to load up. And then once it loads up, you could go in there and see if any errors or problems occur. And then the last one is your user discovery one. And once that loads up, and the cool thing is if you can catch the log as soon as it creates itself and you open it up, you can see everything in real time. That's awesome. Some of the logs, I caught it on real time, and I was able to see everything happen. It was pretty exciting. I was happy that everything went well. So I'm just gonna zoom out of here and close these logs out. Okay, and let's go back into our SCCM. So you're probably saying to yourself, okay, once you enable all that stuff, what's going to happen? So once you enable all that stuff, we're going to go inside assets and compliance. And within there, if you go inside users, you're going to see all this stuff get pre-populated with all the stuff within your Active Directory. Depending on what OU you told it to scan, you're going to see it. Like, it picked up everything. I told it to go inside the main root of Active Directory and find everything and just drop it in here, and this is what we got. And it even has the accounts that we created together. See? That's cool. These are the accounts that we created. I think I don't remember which episode, but whichever episode we did together when we was configuring the Active Directory and creating accounts, it picked it up right here. And devices, again, if you click on devices, click on the main root right here. These are the only computers I have within my Active Directory. I have a Chrome. I did like a video for you guys. The MDT, which is our MDT server / Active Directory. This is where our Active Directory lives. Our SCCM, as you guys can see, there's no clients installed as of yet. I have a desktop and I have my Windows. I got a couple of machines already part of Active Directory. You can also click on all systems, and all systems will give you, again, the same information as devices. User collection, if you click on that, they break it down into these groups, which is weird because once you double click, let's say if I double click on all users, it's going to appear here. So if I double click on all users, eventually it's going to appear right here at the bottom, and it stays there. It'd be nice if, Microsoft just gave us that like drop down and boom, they're there. But if you go into user collections and you double click it on the first time, it will appear right here. Like I double clicked it. Yeah, there it goes. So those are all the users and user groups. And then for devices, the reason why I got all systems here is because I went to device collections and I just double click on one of these subfolders, and I say all. If I double click on all unknown computers, it's gonna show up right here. And the unknown computers is just something that SCCM creates for you by default. If it can't define it and it recognizes it as a 64 or 86-bit, now for those individuals that hate hearing 86-bit, 32-bit, they create two containers called 64 unknown computer and 86 unknown computer. Okay, so that's it for discovery method. I mean, once you enable it, you just chillax. It's gonna do its thing. Depending how big your network is, or how big your infrastructure is, gonna take some time. If you're really impatient, like I was, you can right click on one of the methods and just do a run forest. Each one has it, run full, or you could do up here. Just make sure you select it and go up here and run the forest discovery. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is tackle boundaries. Now this is where I need to take, I gotta look down because I have a crap load of notes, which I have to take some time and post them up on my site. I always say that I'm gonna post stuff on my site and I never do because I'm always busy doing a lot of stuff for you guys. So within boundaries, let's click on boundaries. And within boundaries, I already have an IP address range. Now I did not create this IP address range. I created a subnet within my Active Directory sites and services. So you're probably saying to yourself, what are you talking about, Bernardo? No problem. So depending on how many sites you have within your infrastructure, I'm going to go inside my MDT because remember, my MDT is my Active Directory within this virtual environment. So if I load up Active Directory sites and services, I'm going to do a Control-4 for you guys to zoom in a little bit. And I created a subnet. And that subnet is this guy right here. Okay? If I click on, I'm going to right click on this guy and let's go to properties. And within properties, I gave it a nice description, subnet in the BTNHD lab. Okay, my subnet is my DHCP scope. Okay, the site, mine says default first name, but depending on how many sites you have within your infrastructure, again, you probably have your system set up as New York, London, Texas, or wherever. You probably have like Brooklyn. You probably are in the New York State area. You probably have Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Bronx, whatever. You have different sites, and all those sites are talking within you like the central hub, like the centralized location for SCCM, and you have all these different subnets. You're gonna create different subnets for each site. For me, I only have one site, and it says default first name because I left it, and that's the default. You can always change it if you want. The prefix is 192.168.1024, which gives me the range of 254 IP addresses, I believe. And location, you could give it more. No location. Object, don't need that. Security by default. Okay. So the way that you create it, you just right click on your subnet and create a new subnet. And right here, you give your prefix. And you give your prefix a name. And you choose your site. If you have different sites, you're good to go. Okay. So this right here is the reason why why my SCCM was capable. Oh crap! Keep on doing T. 4. There it goes. Let's go back into admin boundaries. Okay, so that subnet that I created within Active Directory sites and services, this is the reason why that's there. If I right click on that, I go to properties. And if you look at the description, which I'm going to show you, see, description, btnhd.edu, default first site name, and this is the prefix. Cool. And IP range. Nice. What gives me 192.168.11 to 124. 254. Site system. I have not done that yet. But right now, the following site systems are associated with this boundary. Don't worry about that. We're going to be dealing with that later. And again, it is part of a boundary group, which I'm going to show you guys. Cool. Yeah, because I did create a boundary group, which we're going to go over pretty soon. If you have a boundary group already created, you could just click add and just pick it. So I'm going to close that up. Now, if you do not have Active Directory sites and services, you do not go inside there and create a subnet, you are capable of right-clicking here and then just create a boundary. Bam, done. That's it. You give it a nice little description. Again, choices that you have is IP subnet, Active Directory discovery site. Click on that, right? And it should load up the default site. Yep, it should load up that, and then you can pick it, and it does this thing. You also have IPv6 prefix if that's the kind of network system that you have within your infrastructure, or you could just automatically do the IP address range if you know it. But for me, I wanted SCCM to do the job for me, and by creating that subnet within your Active Directory site and services, bam, boundaries automatically picked it up. And the reason why that it picked up is because, again, we enabled our discovery methods. Discovery methods did its thing. And if you have a group, you can actually add it to the group. Cool. So I'm going to cancel that. And the next thing, because I got to look at my damn notes, is creating boundary groups. So let's go inside boundary groups. And within boundary groups, just adjusting myself right now. I'm going to get a little water. Awesome. I know I had a couple 15 people strong looking at the chat. Thank you so much for those individuals that are standing by, watching this crazy guy do his thing. Love you guys. I appreciate you guys stopping by on a Saturday. And for those individuals that are always here every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, thank you so much. Again, if you have the power to share, like the video, leave a comment, do so. Make this video strong, because the more you show me that you are liking these videos, the more I'm going to push them out, right? So, hi Chris, how you doing? Thank you. I'm trying. So let's continue. So, boundary groups. So let's click on boundary groups. By default, you're gonna get default site boundary groups. This automatically SCCM created this for me. There's nothing in it. There's no member counts. There's no system counts. It's read only, but it is assigned to a site. Now, what I did was create one. It's real simple to create one. You just right click on it and create a boundary group. And all you have to do is give it a name, give it a nice description. Right from here, you can click on add and add the boundary. Bam, done, right? That's easy. Because I only have one boundary, I could just add it within that group. And within references, we're going to go over this pretty soon, but within references, this is where you site assignment. This is where you assign your site within your boundary group. Remember what I said earlier within the slide. You could use this boundary group for site assignment. Set the site that config manager computer resource is assigned to during discovery. This also sets the site that performs client push installation. When a secondary site is selected, the secondary site performs client push installation, but clients always assigned to the secondary site's parent primary site. So this is a must. I would recommend definitely adding this within your boundary group. And I'm going to add it to the one that I created earlier. And with your site system server, definitely need to add a server, and you need to add your SCCM server. Okay, so it's really easy to create a group. Again, I already created a group, and I'm going to right click on this guy. Right click, and let's go to properties and let properties load up. Awesome. So this is my name. I say local servers because it's retrieving all the local servers. I could give it whatever name I want or whatever description. Just make sure it makes sense for your team, for your IT people in your team, okay? Because if something happens to you and, someone needs to manage your SCCM server because you're not around, you go inside the description, read it, makes sense to them. It's one of the things that I always try to do is document everything. Make sure that you document everything and make sure you leave notes or descriptions. because if something happens to you and someone needs to manage your servers or your deployment server, definitely your deployment server, you want them to go in there, look at the description, look at the notes, and they could just do their thing and get out. Don't play around, start clicking, and then when you come back from your vacation, your SCCM server is not deploying correctly. Why? Because someone started playing around with it and started touching stuff that they shouldn't not be touched. And I've dealt with that, and that's a huge headache. So within the properties, again, I added the boundary, and I only have one boundary, and it's not. I don't think it's gonna load up anything because I only have one boundary and it's already added, so it should not load anything up. Okay. But if I didn't have anything here, it will load up this guy and you can pick it. Now for references right here, you could use the site assignment. I'm definitely going to use site assignment. Use this boundary group for site assignment. And then you could assign which site. I only have one site. We only have one site, which is this one right here. So I'm going to pick that. And for the site system server, let's go down. We're going to click on add. And we're definitely going to add our SCCM server. So we're going to click OK on that, and we're going to click apply. Awesome. Cool. I'm just looking over my notes real quick. Awesome. Cool. So relationships, right now I haven't created any fallback relationships, so I'm gonna leave that alone as for now. I haven't really dealt too much with relationships within boundary groups. So I'm definitely still learning a little bit more with SCCM. Again, I'm not a guru. I'm still learning, picking this stuff up. And security is just basic security, like my admin. You can actually modify this and add groups and stuff. But by default, this guy is the one that has full access. And this is not good practice. This should not be it. This should be an Active Directory user account that is not an admin. It's not an admin. But make it something else that has these operations, okay? Not best practice to use a full Active Directory admin. It's a no-no, big no-no, okay? So we're going to do okay. And the next thing we need to do is, I believe, we already enabled automatic site assignments for the boundary group. That's basically go inside your group right here, right-click, go to Properties, and within Reference tab right here, just enable that and make sure you pick the system server, which would be your SCCM server. And then if you have multiple sites, make sure you pick the right one. Again, each group is going to be different. Okay, if you have 3 or 4 subnets that need to be assigned the same site, go for it. If you have different subnets that need different assigned sites, you have to do individual groups for that particular subnet. Okay, close that up. And we need to do the content and policy retrieval for the boundary group. Now, to do that, I believe if you go inside, you're still inside administration, hierarchy configuration. Actually, not there. You need to go into site configuration and go to sites. Let that load up real quick. And within your site, select your site, and you want to click on hierarchy settings. And within the general, the one that you need to configure, you need to configure clients prefer to use management points specified in the boundary group. So definitely need to do that. You need to enable that. And I'm checking my notes because I want to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. And yes. And we're going to click apply on that. Awesome. Yeah, great. That's it. Awesome. So everything should be working. Soon I have to add some clients. And I think in the next video, we're going to be dealing with Windows. I think the next week, hopefully next week, if everything goes well, we should be going over Windows updates, configuring that, and also doing client push. And then the following show, we're going to be doing a little bit deployment. We're going to be doing a little bit of Windows 10 deployment. So I'm super excited about that. And the reason why I'm trying to push these videos out to you guys as soon as possible is because look at this guy right here. You see this? 89 days left. And I'm only using the trial-based TP. And Microsoft not too long ago released 17.05 technical preview for SCCM. So holy crap, I need to catch up and stop playing around. again, once you do that hierarchy settings within your site, which is once it loads up, it takes a while. There you go. You enable this guy. That will work with this guy, the guy that we went to boundary groups, and right click and go to properties. That option that we enable within sites will work well within this guy. Okay. Specify the site system server that are associated with this boundary group, which clients should use for policy and content. You can specify management points, distribution points, state migration points, or software update points. For us, it is our distribution point. Okay. And we're going to click add. And once you make all those modifications, everything is changed. I don't. If you remember, I didn't have any. I had a member count, but I didn't have a site system count, and this group didn't have a site assigned to it. But now it is assigned to the BTN site, which is our SCCM. So, yeah, that's it. That's all. That's everything to get you up and running with discovery methods and also boundaries. That's like the gist of it. I was trying to keep this less than an hour because I know it's Saturday and I don't want to keep you guys. I definitely want to push little segments with you guys rather than pushing a crap load of stuff and just boring you guys to death. But I'm about to hit the chat room. If you guys have any questions, chat with me a little bit. I'm gonna keep it on for 5 more minutes. And we're gonna end the show, man. Episode 10. Holy crap, 10 episodes! I can't believe it. If you have any comments or concerns or questions or anything that you want to yell at me, go for it right now. The chat. I'm gonna leave it for 5 more minutes. We're gonna end it at 3:55. 3:55. We're gonna end it strong. But for those individuals that tune in, thank you so much. Again, if you have the power to leave a comment. If you have the power to leave a comment or hit the like button, hit the share it out. If you have a Twitter account, Google, Facebook, whatever, just share it. Just share it. But yeah, it looks like we got a couple people dropping. We got about 3 more minutes, and I'm going to keep it up and running. Again, if you guys have any comments or concerns, let me know. I want to check the status. Should we check the status? Check the status right now. Let's we're still almost close to 30,000, which is okay. Not stressing it. It's okay. It's okay. We didn't make it for the show 30,000, but it's okay. I'm looking at it right now, but it's all gravy. Again, guys, 2 more minutes. I'm gonna leave it up and running. 2 more minutes. If you guys have any more questions, shoot it at the chat. A couple of you guys are dropping off. There's a link at the description that will give you this. Will give you the PowerPoint that we went over. I like using PowerPoint because it's just straightforward, straight to the point. Go right. And thank you so much. Again, we're leaving it for 2 more minutes. If you have any more questions, let me know. And we're going to end it. We're going to end it pretty soon. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. All right. Cool. Again, if you want, PowerPoint is within the description. There's a link. It's going to take you PDF. I converted the PDF to have the notes so you could print it out, take notes, quick notes on what to do, what not to do. Again, if you are an individual that does SCCM daily, hey, leave a comment right below. Don't leave a comment now because the live stream chat disappears. But come back to the video, leave a comment, let me know what's your best practice, what you normally do. I would love to hear you guys and what you do within your infrastructure because I'm not a guru with this. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to build from it. So from you guys, I learn. You learn from me. It's a back and forth thing. We're all learning together. Okay. So I'm gonna end it right here. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for those individuals that stopped by to the server room, episode 10, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we're going to tackle the client push and Windows Server, not Windows Server, Windows updates. So those are the two things that we're going to be tackling next for the next episode. And then that would be episode 11, and then episode 12, we're just going to focus on Windows 10 deployment. But I probably might migrate our MDT server within SCCM to push out our operating system. So I'm excited about that. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much. I see you guys on the next show. Later. All right, so how you end this? I think we ended over here that says stop. Right? That's where you end it? I think that's where you end it. All right, I'm ending it right now. Definitely going to end it. All right, bye.